It is 3 o'clock in the morning. The rest of the house is completely silent. Your partner is asleep. The dog is asleep. Everything is still. And yet you are lying there wide awake because your feet feel like they are on fire. Not a mild warmth, not a little discomfort. I mean a deep, electric, burning sensation, like someone wrapped your feet in hot, barbed wire and then ran a low-voltage current through them. Or maybe for you, it's the opposite sensation. That strange, eerie numbness, like you're walking on cotton balls or thick foam padding, where the ground doesn't quite feel like it's there. And you reach down to touch your own feet, just to check, and the skin feels like it belongs to someone else. I need you to really hear me on this. If that description just hit you somewhere deep in your chest, you are not alone. What I just described is the daily and nightly reality for an estimated 20 million Americans living with peripheral neuropathy. And the number skyrockets once we get past the age of 60. Some studies suggest nearly 1 in 3 seniors over 65 deals with some form of nerve damage, whether they've been formally diagnosed or not. They just call it "my feet acting up." They call it "my hands getting numb." They've learned to live around it, to sleep with their feet outside the covers, to grip the railing every single time they take a step on the stairs. And here's what makes it worse. So many of you have already gone to your doctor about this. You've described the burning, the tingling, the pins and needles, the loss of balance, the feeling that your feet are not quite getting the messages your brain is sending. And too many of you have been told some version of the same thing. Well, at your age, this is just something you have to manage. Or maybe your nerves are aging. We can give you something for the pain. Manage, that word. I want you to sit with that for a moment. Because when a doctor tells you to manage your nerve damage, what they're really saying, even if they don't mean it this way, is give up. Accept it. This is your life now. And I am here today to push back on that with every ounce of evidence-based science I have at my disposal. Because that message, however well-intentioned, is simply not the whole truth. The truth is this: your body is a self-repairing system. It was built to heal. From the moment you're born until the day you die, your body is in a constant, relentless cycle of breakdown and repair. And your nervous system is no different. The nerves in your feet, your hands, your legs, they are not just static wires that decay and then stay broken forever. They are living tissue, and living tissue, given the right environment and the right building blocks, can regenerate. The science on this is not theoretical. It is not wishful thinking. It is peer-reviewed, clinically documented, and measurable. And in the next several minutes, I am going to walk you through exactly what those building blocks are, why most seniors aren't getting them, and a specific 14-day protocol that has been shown to produce measurable, real-world improvement in nerve function. So please stay with me, because this information could genuinely change your daily life. Let's start with the science. And I promise I'm going to make this so clear that it will just click for you. Think of it this way. Inside your body, every single nerve is like an electrical wire. And just like the wiring inside your walls at home, every nerve fiber is wrapped in a protective coating. In electrical wiring, that coating is rubber insulation. It keeps the electrical signal from leaking, from shorting out, from going anywhere it's not supposed to go. In your nervous system, that coating is called the myelin sheath. Myelin is a fatty, protein-rich layer that wraps around your nerve fibers in tight, overlapping rings. And its job, its entire critical job, is to do exactly what that rubber insulation does. Keep the signal clean, fast, and precise. When your myelin sheath is healthy and thick and intact, a nerve signal from your brain travels to your foot in fractions of a second. It's clean, it's accurate. Your foot knows exactly where it is in space, your balance is solid, your coordination is sharp. But here's what happens as we age, especially after the age of 60. The body becomes progressively less efficient at manufacturing and maintaining that myelin coating. The insulation starts to thin. It starts to crack. And when that happens, the signals start to scramble. Imagine your electrical wire with fraying, damaged insulation. The electricity doesn't travel smoothly anymore. It sparks, it leaks, it creates interference. That is the tingling you feel. That is the burning sensation. That is the numbness, the walking on cotton feeling, the electric shock pain that wakes you up at 3 in the morning. Your signals are misfiring because the insulation has been compromised. And before anyone says, "Well, Dr. Martin, isn't that just aging?" I want to address that directly. Yes, aging plays a role, but here is the critical distinction that most conventional medicine misses. Aging does not cause this damage in isolation. Aging creates a set of conditions that, in the absence of the right nutritional support, accelerate this damage. The myelin sheath does not just wear out on its own. It wears out faster when the body doesn't have the raw materials it needs to keep rebuilding it. This is the part most doctors miss. They see nerve damage and they think deterioration. They don't always ask the next question, and the next question is, what is the body missing that it needs to keep the repairs going? That brings me to the single most important nutrient in this conversation, the one I call the star of the show. And that nutrient is methylcobalamin. Now, most of you know this as vitamin B12, but I need you to understand that not all B12 is created equal, and this distinction is everything. Methylcobalamin is the active, neurologically ready form of B12. It is the form your nervous system can actually use directly, without any conversion steps, and it is absolutely foundational to the production and maintenance of the myelin sheath. Without sufficient methylcobalamin, your body cannot rebuild that insulation. Period. Here is where it gets exciting. There is clinical research, including a landmark Japanese study involving patients with peripheral neuropathy, showing that high-dose methylcobalamin supplementation produced measurable improvements in nerve conduction velocity in as little as 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Not 2 years, not 2 months. 14 days. Nerve conduction velocity is the speed and accuracy with which a nerve can transmit a signal, and it is one of the gold standard measurements of nerve health. The fact that this measurement moved so meaningfully, statistically significantly, in 2 weeks tells us something profound. These nerves are not dead. They are not beyond repair. They are starving, and when you feed them, they respond. Now here's where I need you to pay very close attention, because this is a critical piece that explains why so many seniors are deficient even when they're eating a decent diet or taking a standard multivitamin. There is something called the absorption trap. As we age, particularly past the age of 60, the stomach undergoes a number of changes. One of the most important of those changes is a significant decline in the production of something called intrinsic factor. Intrinsic factor is a protein made in the stomach lining, and its entire job is to bind to B12 from food or from standard pills and escort it through the intestinal wall into your bloodstream. No intrinsic factor, no absorption. It's that simple. The B12 goes in and it comes right back out. On top of that, stomach acid production also declines with age, and stomach acid is needed to release B12 from food in the first place. So you've got a double barrier. You may be eating eggs and meat and fish. You may be taking a standard B12 supplement. But if your stomach doesn't have enough acid to release the B12, and your gut doesn't have enough intrinsic factor to absorb it, it is simply not getting in. And the nerve damage continues silently, night after night, while you wonder why nothing is helping. This is why the protocol I recommend bypasses the digestive system entirely. And the two most effective ways to do this are sublingual delivery and injection. Sublingual means under the tongue. When you place a methylcobalamin tablet or liquid under your tongue and let it dissolve, it goes directly into the capillaries, the tiny blood vessels in the floor of your mouth, and enters your bloodstream without ever touching your stomach or your intestines. The absorption rate is dramatically higher. For those with more severe deficiency or more advanced neuropathy, B12 injections, typically given in a clinical setting, are even more direct and can flood the nervous system with the supply it's been missing. For most people, sublingual methylcobalamin at doses between 1,000 and 5,000 micrograms taken first thing in the morning is a practical, accessible, and highly effective starting point. But I want to be very clear. Methylcobalamin is the foundation of this protocol, but it works synergistically with other nutrients. Think of it like a construction crew. The B12 is your general contractor, the one who organizes and drives the whole rebuild. But the general contractor cannot build a house alone. They need electricians, plumbers, a crew. And in nerve repair, that crew is what I call the nerve repair stack. Let me walk you through each member. The first is benfotiamine, which is a fat-soluble form of vitamin B1. Now, regular B1, thiamine, is water-soluble, which means it passes in and out of the body quickly and doesn't penetrate deeply into tissues. Benfotiamine, by contrast, is fat-soluble, which means it gets absorbed into the fatty tissues of the body, including, critically, the fatty myelin sheath itself. Once it's there, benfotiamine acts as a powerful shield against what scientists call advanced glycation end products. I know that's a mouthful, so let me simplify it for you. Think of advanced glycation end products as rust on the nerves. When sugar molecules stick to proteins and fats, especially in people with elevated blood sugar, they form these sticky, damaging compounds that coat the nerve fibers and slowly strangle them. Benfotiamine essentially blocks that process. It keeps the rust from forming. At doses around 300 to 600 milligrams per day, it has been shown in clinical trials to reduce neuropathic pain and improve nerve function, particularly in people with diabetic neuropathy. The second member of the crew is alpha-lipoic acid, or ALA. Now, I want you to think of LA as the universal antioxidant. Most antioxidants you know, vitamin C, vitamin E, they work in one environment only. Vitamin C works in water-based environments inside the cell. Vitamin E works in fat-based environments. Alpha-lipoic acid is unique because it is both water-soluble and fat-soluble, meaning it can do cleanup work inside the cell and outside the cell. It neutralizes the free radicals, the unstable, damaging molecules that accumulate in nerve tissue and accelerate the breakdown of the myelin sheath. It also has a remarkable ability to regenerate other antioxidants once they've been used up, essentially recycling your body's protective capacity. European countries, particularly Germany, have used ALA as a pharmaceutical-grade treatment for diabetic neuropathy for decades. The effective dose in research is typically 600 milligrams per day, and the third member is magnesium. I know magnesium doesn't get the dramatic press that some of these other nutrients do, but in the context of nerve health, it is absolutely essential. Here's why. Every time a nerve cell fires, every single signal transmission, magnesium acts as the gatekeeper for the ion channels that control the flow of that electrical signal. Without adequate magnesium, nerve cells become hyperexcitable. They fire too easily, too intensely, or they misfire. That is why magnesium deficiency is so closely associated with muscle cramps, restless legs, spasms, and yes, the hypersensitive electric shock type pain of neuropathy. Magnesium also acts as a natural calcium channel blocker, reducing the overstimulation of pain receptors. Magnesium glycinate or magnesium malate are the most bioavailable forms for nerve and muscle tissue, and 300 to 400 milligrams in the evening is a practical and well-tolerated protocol. Now, I have to stop here and be completely honest with you about something, because I see a lot of health content online that makes it seem like the right supplements are all you need. Just pop the right pills and you're done. And if I left it there, I would be misleading you. Because here is the truth. If you don't address the lifestyle factors that are causing or accelerating the nerve damage in the first place, taking supplements is like bailing water out of a leaky boat. You're working hard, but the sink is still leaking. Let me tell you about the two lifestyle factors that matter most. The first is blood sugar. I need you to really hear me on this, especially if you have been told you are pre-diabetic or that your blood sugar is a little high or borderline, because here is what most people don't fully understand. You do not have to have full-blown type 2 diabetes to have blood sugar-driven nerve damage. Even mildly elevated blood sugar, even what's considered the borderline range, causes a process called glycation. And I want you to picture this. Take a piece of chicken, coat it in sugar, and put it in a high-heat oven. What happens? It caramelizes, it hardens, it loses its flexibility and function. That is what mildly elevated blood sugar does to your nerve fibers. It caramelizes them, it stiffens them. And this is a completely modifiable process, reducing refined carbohydrates, sugary drinks, white bread, and highly processed foods creates an internal environment where the nervous system can actually begin to heal instead of being constantly re-injured. The second lifestyle factor is movement. I am not talking about marathon training. I'm not talking about a gym membership. I am talking about 20 to 30 minutes of consistent walking every single day. Here's the mechanism. Your peripheral nerves, the ones in your feet, your legs, your hands, are at the end of the line. They are the farthest from your heart, and they depend on good circulation to receive oxygen and nutrients. When you walk, you are essentially turning on a biological delivery system. You are pumping oxygenated, nutrient-rich blood all the way down to the nerve endings in your toes. Walking also stimulates the production of nerve growth factor, a protein that literally promotes the repair and regeneration of nerve tissue. Even gentle walking on flat ground makes a measurable difference. If balance is an issue, use a walker, a cane, a loved one's arm, whatever it takes to keep moving. I want to tell you about a woman I'll call Margaret. She was 67 years old, a retired school teacher, and when she first came in to talk with me, she was wearing Velcro shoes because she could no longer feel her fingers well enough to work buttons. She had burning pain in both feet that had been keeping her up most nights for nearly 3 years. She had seen 2 other doctors and been told this was the natural progression of her condition. She was starting to withdraw from her grandchildren because she was embarrassed about stumbling, and because the pain made her irritable in a way that wasn't like her. She told me, "I used to be the one who held the family together. Now I feel like a burden." We ran her B12 levels and her methylmalonic acid test, which is a more sensitive marker of functional B12 deficiency, and her numbers confirmed what we suspected. We started her on 2,000 micrograms of sublingual methylcobalamin every morning, added benfotiamine, alpha-lipoic acid, and magnesium glycinate in the evening, made adjustments to her diet to stabilize her blood sugar, and got her walking 20 minutes after lunch every day. On day 11, she called the office, not to report problems, to tell me that she had buttoned her own shirt that morning, that she had been standing at the kitchen sink after dinner and realized she could feel the warm water on her hands again. She cried on the phone. I'm not too proud to tell you I was moved, because that is what we are working toward. Not just numbers on a lab test, but the ability to button your own shirt, to feel your grandchild's hand, to sleep through the night. So let me give you your clear, actionable 14-day checklist right now, because I want you to leave this video with a real plan. Step 1. Get your labs done. Ask your doctor for a serum B12 test and, critically, a methylmalonic acid test, or MMA. The MMA test is more sensitive and will catch a functional B12 deficiency even when the serum level looks normal. Step 2. Start sublingual methylcobalamin, a dose of 1,000 to 5,000 micrograms placed under the tongue every morning before food, allowing it to dissolve completely. For those with confirmed severe deficiency, talk to your doctor about B12 injections. Step 3. Add benfotiamine at 300 to 600 milligrams per day, taken with a meal that contains some fat for best absorption. Step 4. Add alpha-lipoic acid at 600 milligrams per day, ideally on an empty stomach for maximum bioavailability. Step 5. Add magnesium glycinate or malate at 300 to 400 milligrams in the evening. Step 6. For 14 days, remove refined sugars, sugary beverages, and white processed carbohydrates from your diet as completely as you can manage. Eat protein, healthy fats, vegetables, and complex whole carbohydrates. Step 7. Walk. Every single day, even if it's 15 minutes to start. Build toward 20 to 30 minutes. Morning, afternoon, after dinner, whenever fits your life. Just move. Keep a simple journal. Each morning, rate your pain on a scale of 1 to 10. Note how you slept. Note whether you noticed any changes in sensation, balance, or energy. By day 7, most people notice something. By day 14, if you've been consistent, the improvements are often undeniable. Now, I want to close with something I say from the bottom of my heart, as someone who has worked in senior health for many years and who has heard the phrase, "just part of getting older," more times than I can count. I want to look you directly in the eye, or as close to that as a video screen allows, and tell you this: you are not too old to heal. That is not a bumper sticker sentiment. It is a biological truth. Your nervous system retains the capacity for regeneration and repair at 65, at 70, at 80. The cells are listening. The pathways are still there. What has been missing, for many of you, is not the ability to heal. What has been missing is the information, the right building blocks, and someone telling you the truth about what your body is still capable of. Please share this video with someone you care about, a parent, a spouse, a neighbor, a friend, who is quietly suffering through those 3 o'clock mornings, thinking that this is simply who they are now. It doesn't have to be. And if you've started this protocol and you have questions, leave them in the comments below. I read them. My team reads them. You are not navigating this alone. I'm Dr. Clarence Martin. Stay healthy, stay informed, and let's get your nerves healing.